My fingers brushed against the cold brass of a key I hadn't touched in years. A key to a house that once held my childhood like a locked journal, every page stained with silence and hurt. Then came the email. 6 words, sharp as a blade, carved into me deeper than steel. You're not welcome home this year. The screen burned those words into me, heavier than any slammed door, harsher than any shouted insult. It wasn't rejection, it was erasure. Before I go on, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and tell me in the comments, where in the world are you watching from right now? I'd love to know. My name is Jonas Cade, and this is the story of how their betrayal didn't just break me, it defined me. Tell me, have you ever given your whole heart to a family that treated you like you never belonged? I was 34, holed up in a drafty loft in Crestwood, the air thick with burnt toast and loneliness. 10 years as a deep-sea welder had left my body battered, my lungs scarred, my spirit frayed. Torch sparks, crushing depths, pressure that could turn your chest into splinters. I came home craving something small, a nod, a word, we missed you. Instead, my father, Victor, sent me that email. No call, no warmth, just exile in a sentence. My mother, Elena, stayed silent. My younger brother, Silas, didn't bother to reach out. It was as if I'd been erased from the story of their lives. That night, I slumped on my sagging thrift store couch, the glow of a dying string of Christmas lights flickering like a failing pulse. My throat burned, not from tears, but from something sharper, defiance. I typed back 2 words, I understand, but the truth? I didn't. It was the sound of a chain snapping inside me. I cracked open a bottle of bourbon, toasted the empty air, and whispered a vow to blood. 6 days later, my phone lit up with 14 notifications, 2 from Silas, 3 from Elena, 4 from Victor, and 1 from a lawyer named Marcus Hale. By then, the fire inside me had already caught. So let's rewind, back to where the wounds began. I was 18 when I bolted, left that house like a prisoner breaking free. Victor's affection was just criticism dressed as fatherhood. Don't screw this up, Jonas, he'd bark, his voice like salt ground into a wound. Elena excused him with whispers. He's just tired, love. Silas, 2 years younger, learned to survive by siding with Victor. I refused, I rebelled, and I fled. The rigs made me tough. Welding gave me spine. I wired money home when their fridge broke, when their roof caved, when disaster hit. I sent postcards from the Atlantic, called from oil platforms in the Bering Sea. They cashed my checks, but never once asked about the storms I'd survived or the near drownings. Every Christmas, I showed up, hoping to belong, hoping Victor might meet my eyes, Elena might hug me, Silas might laugh like brothers do, but instead I was put to work. Check the furnace, Jonas. Elena hovered in the kitchen. Silas stayed glued to his laptop. I was a tool, not a son. This year, I thought it would change. My shoulder was ruined, my body broken from years underwater. I quit the rigs and longed for their couch, Elena's gingerbread, Silas's dumb jokes. I bought the train ticket, I packed my bag, I pictured a welcome. Instead, I got that email. You're not welcome. It wasn't just rejection. It was banishment. That night I couldn't sleep. I dug through old files for a distraction and found it, a PDF from 7 years ago. Victor had needed a co-signer for a loan. His credit was garbage. I was 27, desperate for his approval. He told me it was just a formality. I signed blind. But that signature? It made me majority owner of their house, 51%. They had no idea. The next morning I called a lawyer buddy I'd met years back at a welding expo. Hypothetically, I asked, voice steady as steel, what if a co-signer owns majority stake, and the borrower tells him he's not family anymore? The lawyer chuckled, dry and sharp. Then, Jonas, you own them. I didn't rage. I didn't cry. I wrote an email instead. Effective immediately, I, Jonas Cade, am asserting my legal rights as majority owner of 19 Pine Hollow Road. All property decisions now run through my attorney. I hit send and imagined their faces. Then I booked a remote cabin in the Adirondacks for Christmas. No tinsel, no hymns, just snow and silence. 6 days later, I powered on my phone. The notifications hit like waves breaking over my head. Silas's voicemail cracked with panic. Jonas, what the hell? Victor's losing it. Call me. Victor's voice was venom. You think you can steal my house? My house? Elena wept, begging me to reconsider. And their lawyer? Smooth, rehearsed. Let's resolve this amicably, Mr. Cade. But this wasn't revenge. This was clarity. For years, they'd relied on me to bend, to beg for scraps of approval. Not anymore. I'd survived the ocean's black silence. I could survive them. Christmas morning, Elena called again. Her voice was trembling. Jonas, please. Victor's falling apart. Silas is a mess. Can't we talk? I stared into the cabin fire, the heat prickling my face. Do you remember my 26th birthday? I asked. I called you from an infirmary in Newfoundland. A pipe had nearly crushed me. She stammered. I don't recall. You told Victor not to worry. You dismissed me like always. That's when I knew I was on my own. She sobbed. I ended the call. The paperwork was already filed, ownership transferred, inspections underway, and when the property manager called me that night, his voice was tense. Jonas, it's bad. Your folks were livid, but we found tenants, no leases, cash under the table. Sketchy as hell. I clenched my jaw. Document everything. That same night, I wrote another email. As of January 3rd, all unauthorized tenants are terminated. You have 30 days to vacate or sign under my terms. January 3rd, I went back. I brought the property manager, a locksmith, and the papers. Victor opened the door, face red with rage and fear. You're not taking my house, Jonas. I stepped past him, boots heavy on the oak floor. Elena clutched her shawl, eyes red. Silas sat at the table, silent. This isn't your house anymore, I said, my voice calm as the deep sea. It's mine. You have 30 days. Sign or leave. Victor's fists balled, but my manager stood firm between us. I didn't flinch. As I walked out, the snow bit at my cheeks, and for the first time in my life I felt free, not because I'd won, but because I'd stopped bleeding for them. That house was never home. Home was the fire I built inside myself, the scars I carried, the future I'd claim. And if you've ever had to burn a bridge just to save yourself, leave a comment, share your story. And if this struck a chord, hit subscribe. I'm Jonas Cade, and I'm done being invisible.